Regular meeting number 57 will now come to order. Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Councilmember Mitch Brown, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We are pleased to have Monsignor Cody back to pray with us. Welcome back to council, Monsignor.
Let us pray. O good and gracious God, the members of Columbus City Council seek your presence and your wisdom and guidance as they address the business of the city of Columbus. We know, Lord, that election day is tomorrow, and now as never before, your spirit of discernment and wisdom is sought as the electorate goes to the polls to choose the people who will represent them in the civil ordering of American society on the national and local level. May the electors choose men and women who have always before their eyes the common good of all. May they realize that their vote is a sacred duty, exercised so that our nation may continue as a beacon of freedom, an example of participative democracy. May the electors realize the gravity of the choices they make and the consequences inherent as they select those they decide who will best serve the people they are chosen to govern or represent. When all is said and done tomorrow night, Lord, let us resolve to move forward together and do our best to ensure that our nation and our local governments truly provide liberty and justice for all in accord with your will for us, Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Monsignor. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of City Council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
This week's communications received by the City Clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the City Bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Are there any resolutions by members of council? Councilmember Elizabeth Brown. Councilmember Mitch Brown.
Thank you, Council President. I have one resolution this evening. I would like to invite Officer Jose James and Sergeant Chris Bova and Mr. John Ramos to approach the podium. Resolution 032X2018 to recognize Officer Jose James for his dedication to the Hispanic and Latino community in Columbus. Whereas members of the Hispanic Latino community, including the League of United Latin American Citizens, have recognized the efforts of Officer James as an advocate for their community within the Columbus Division of Police, and whereas the community members have touted Officer James for his ability to overcome cultural and language challenges facing new American communities in order to protect and serve them to the best of his ability, and whereas Officer James' superiors have expressed appreciation for Officer James going above and beyond in his dedication to serving the Hispanic Latino community in Columbus, and Whereas the City of Columbus is an open and welcoming city that serves the needs of residents no matter their language, national origin, sexual orientation, or religious affiliation, the work of Officer James is important to the success of this mission, and now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby express its appreciation for the outstanding service of Officer James, Jose James, to the Hispanic and Latino community as a member of the Columbus Division of Police. Would any of my colleagues like to offer any comments? If not, I move for adoption.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Mr. Ramos, I would like you first for some comments, sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, City Council members and Honorable City Council President. We thank you for the opportunity, and in particular, our gratitude to Council Member Mitchell Brown for endorsing and supporting this very unique resolution petition by our community recognizing Officer Jose James. My name again is John Ramos, and I am the past president of LULAC Columbus Council 39005, established in Columbus since 2005. Today, I was invited here as a community leader and member who has worked for the last 10 years or so for our Hispanic Latino community. In those years, I have had the privilege to meet countless leaders who have been committed to serve our society. As well, I had the opportunity to meet people who I have gained their trust and affection. Through them was that a couple of months ago, they came to me with this unique request to see how we could, the community request a recognition for the hard work and dedication that police officer Jose James has dedicated to our community. And so I made a couple of phone calls which brought us here today. So thank you to those who made this possible. Anyways, I would like to talk about the traits and identify police officer James. This is how we have seen and appreciate him throughout his service in our community. We appreciate the ability he has to listen, understand, and respond effectively to others in order to gain information, compliance, or resolution. His perspective and adept at understanding others' motivations and needs, and including in solutions. Moreover, it does not matter the time of day or the weather. Officer James always demonstrates an understanding of and an ability to interact and work effectively with persons of varying backgrounds, attitudes, opinions, and beliefs. He sees people as unique individuals and values their different experiences, ideas, and perspectives when solving problems. Because honestly, our people are very complicated, and more when you place all in one place: the Central Americans, the Cubans, Dominicans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans. There is a trend here. It's all these cans and wants, and no one wants to listen. Until a person, as Officer James, comes along and talks some sense into us, we then mellow. In addition, one of the true and most admired traits that we cherish in Officer James is his honesty and integrity, where he always has demonstrated adherence to high moral and ethical principles, understanding of the importance of consistency of action and principled behaviors, possessing high ethical expectations of self and others, willingness to assert oneself in the face of peer pressure or potential ridicule, to act with honor and truthfulness. Again, these are the traits we admire and respect in Officer James. Again, we are very grateful for the opportunity that the City Council of Columbus has provided us to distinguish one of our own community members, and we just want to say thank you. Finally, to Officer James and his family, please receive our most humble gratitude for all you have done for us and congratulations on this day.
Thank you. Sergeant Bova?
I just wanted to say thank you all for having us here and honoring Officer James. He's a really hard worker, and he's done a lot for the city of Columbus, and will continue to do so in the future. If you ever need anything, let us know. So, thanks.
Thanks, Sarge. Officer James, the floor is yours, and please acknowledge your family.
Thank you. My family's over here with me. Jackie, Andre, Sarah, Joan, Danielle, and Junior. I really want to thank you for this.
Yeah, exactly.
I really want to thank you for this. This is something unexpected, and I don't consider myself deserving of it, but I'll take it. Pretty much, I surround myself with people that actually keep me straight. If at any given time I start walking, out of the path, that will pull me right back in. I use the opportunity that I get every day to do the best that I can for this nation and for my city. I came from a land far away, and I was embraced as one of your own. And I love this place, and I hope that God will give me the opportunity to continue serving this city to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Officer Jose James, thank you. That's all I have this evening, sir.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Remy.
Thank you, Council President Harden. No resolution this evening, but I did want to make an announcement that my next community hours for my office will be on November 16th, Friday, November 16th, at Tim Hortons, 3623 South High Street, from 2 to 3:30. Hope to have anyone that have any concerns to come out and have the opportunity to meet with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Remy. Councilmember Page. President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Council President. I do have one quick announcement. On November 15th at 5 p.m. in Council Chambers, we will be having the hearing to review and comment on the proposed 2019 water and sewer rates for the City of Columbus. We'll also be discussing payment assistance programs for low-income and senior residents using City of Columbus utilities. Again, the hearing is on Thursday, November 15th at 5 p.m. here in Council Chambers. Also want to do a quick shout out to Columbus Crew. Great playoff win, and really excited for their momentum, and we'll see what comes next Sunday. That's all I have this evening, Council President Harden.
Go Crew. Councilmember Tyson.
Yes, I have one resolution. I'm going to ask if Kathy Payson and Dellen to please come to the podium. It's Resolution 0344X-2018. It is to declare November as National Diabetes Month in the City of Columbus and to express support for the National Diabetes Association's 2018 theme, an effort to raise awareness by promoting health after gestational diabetes. Whereas approximately every 23 seconds, someone in the United States is diagnosed with diabetes. And whereas diabetes is a chronic illness that can lead to serious complications such as heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, blindness, and amputation. And whereas nearly 30 million Americans have diabetes, including more than 1.3 million in Ohio. In fact, an estimated 86 million adults have prediabetes, a condition that places them at increased risk for developing type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And whereas the 2018 American Diabetes Association month theme, Promoting Health After Gestational Diabetes, is focused on promoting health after gestational diabetes. It is a type of diabetes that develops during pregnancy. Mothers who have this type of diabetes need to know that they and their children have an increased lifelong risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And where gestational diabetes generally goes away after a baby is born, it should be noted that these individuals have a greater risk of diabetes. And these children have an increased risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. In fact, half of all women who have gestational diabetes diabetes, later develop type 2 diabetes. Whereas the Central Ohio Diabetes Association reports that in Central Ohio, more than 200,000 people have diabetes, and there are 13,000 new cases every 2 years. Half of all diabetics are undiagnosed, and 1 in 10 people will develop diabetes in their lifetime, with the CDC projecting that the number to rise to 1 in 3 in the next 20 years, 1 in 3, if changes aren't made. Whereas diabetes affects people from all walks of life, it takes a particular toll on disadvantaged and minority communities. For instance, Columbus Public Health's Office of Assessment and Surveillance reports that in Franklin County, African Americans are 2.6 times more likely than whites to die of diabetes. Whereas the National Diabetes Month is designed to build awareness regarding a disease that affects millions of Americans and their loved ones, the National Institutes of Health urges people to take action and make simple but important lifestyle changes to achieve their health goals, whether they have diabetes or at risk for the disease. Now, therefore, be it resolved by this council, the City of Columbus, this council is hereby declare November as National Diabetes Month in the City of Columbus and express its support for the Central Ohio Diabetes Association's efforts to raise awareness for the 200,000 Central Ohioans and millions of Americans living with diabetes. I move for passage, for adoption. Thank you.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Adopted.
Thank you. Kathy, the floor is yours.
President Harden, Councilmember Tyson, and all members of City Council, thank you so much for allowing the Central Ohio Diabetes Association to speak with you today. And thank you for your proclamation in honor of National Diabetes Awareness Month. The proclamation certainly says it all, doesn't it? I'm Kathy Passion, the director of the Central Ohio Diabetes Association. CODA, as we call it, was founded by a group of local physicians in 1964. Our organization helps Ohioans living with diabetes detect their condition, prevent onset and complications, and learn to live well with the challenge of diabetes. We provide education to adults with type 2 diabetes, as well as summer camps for children with type 1 diabetes. Since merging with Life Care Alliance in 2017, we're able to look forward to a long and healthy future for our services, our clients, and our community. All of the funding provided to CODA stays right here in the Ohio communities we serve to ensure folks living here have access to the best diabetes education and support possible. CODA is the only community-based organization providing diabetes education and services from a staff including a certified diabetes educator, nurses, social workers, and dietitians. We offer the American Diabetes Association Certified Diabetes Self-Management and Education and Support Program. To tell you more about our summer camps for children with diabetes, I am fortunate to have with me Dylan Connect, a former camper and current counselor of our CODA and the Camp Hamwee program. I've asked Dylan to provide you a firsthand account of the life-changing nature of CODA programs.
Hey guys, my name is Dylan Connect. I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 2 years old. While I like to say that diabetes has never stopped me from doing anything that I want to do with my life, I was still always that kid that at lunch at school had to go to the nurse's station, or at random times through sporting events had to take time on the sidelines due to complications with diabetes. So while not fitting in, the other 51 weeks of the year, camp was always that one place where I was surrounded, where I wasn't out of place. Everyone else was sitting on the sidelines taking care of themselves when they need to. And it was the one place that I could truly fit in. Flash forward years later, I'm 20 years old now. I've spent the past few summers volunteering my time at Camp Hamwee, making sure that I gave back to those kids, just like I had many counselors there for me when I was a young camper. Camp is just the one place where I truly fit in, unlike every other week of the year. And on top of that, camp has helped me build numerous relationships, most of my best friends that I still talk to every single day I met at camp when we were just 8 years old. Thank you guys so much.
And really, they never outgrow being just big kids. Thank you so much. We're honored for this proclamation.
Again, thank you, Kathy, and certainly Dylan, thank you for coming and sharing your story. And just thank you for volunteering and giving back to the organization that's given so much to you. Thank you. mean, I just said what Dylan just said was really moving. If you've never had to experience a child that has a special need and what they have to go through based upon what those different needs happen to be, it makes a significant difference to be able to go to a place where other children are just like you and having a good time and not feeling different. And so, again, I just want to say thank you to Dylan. I've had the experience of being able to do that, and it does make a significant difference in my own family to go to different camps in the summers when my children, my son was younger, and had to go to special camps, and it makes a significant difference in their lives. So thank you for coming and sharing your story. Councilmember Mitchell Brown.
Councilmember Tyson, also I think it's important to note that the city offers up, from the health perspective, the Department of HR just recently did a health screening for everyone to have an opportunity to go and be checked for whether or not they do or do not have diabetes. I myself am a diabetic. I recognize that, and I'm on council every night, so whenever I'm supposed to be here, so you can make it happen. But be prepared to admit the fact that you have an issue and get the right treatment for it. And the African American Wellness Walk, there are multiple opportunities for people to be diagnosed because you don't want to wait till you have a problem and then find out that you have an issue. So thank you for the legislation.
Thank you, Councilmember Brown. All right, I have one announcement on next Wednesday at 4 p.m. There will be a hearing in council chambers from Building and Zoning Services, and we will be discussing a proposed changes to the fee schedule. So I look forward to seeing many of you at that hearing. 4 o'clock, council chambers, November the 14th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. I just have one announcement this evening. On Saturday, November 10th at Afrocentric Early College, the Department of Neighborhoods is hosting its Fall My Brother's Keeper conference. The conference is focused on navigating success in a digital world. There will be dynamic speakers, interactive sessions, and an opportunity fair featuring college and career possibilities. We want to encourage parents with young men of color, ages 14 to 21, to attend. However, in our briefing today, we were talking about that. We also, the department has planned for sessions for young girls, as well as for parents sessions too. So all are certainly welcome to attend. Again, it's this Saturday, November 10th, from 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Afrocentric Early College. Director Williams Scott, do you have anything to add about the conference? No. Thank you so much for your department. Thank you, President Pro Tem Stenziano, for your leadership and support of this initiative. And I know several council members will be attending and being engaged. So just thank you to the council and the departments for working together to support our young people. Are there any comments by elected officials, by our city attorney, auditor, city treasurer? I see that we have Ms. Nancy Deacar from, is that Westland Area Commission? And who else do we have? I can't see. Oh, Greater South Area Commission is here as well. And I see our Judge Barrows. Judge, how are you this evening? Very well. Do you have comments? Yes, please. Come to the podium.
Council President Harden, Chair Page, members of council, tonight you'll be hearing second reading ordinance number 3085, 2018. This is what I was talking about the last time I was here and raised the roof a little bit, and I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate the efforts of all of the council members in coming together and finding funding for our work release program so that we can keep it on. So I'll keep it brief tonight. I have nothing to say about Director Lombardi, good or bad, but I want to thank all of you all for for stepping up and finding the money that we need to keep this worthwhile program going in Columbus. So thank you all.
Thank you, Judge Barrows. Are there any requests by members of council for the removal of ordinance or resolution from the consent action portion of the agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive the reading of the titles of 30-day legislation by the city clerk? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Thank you. Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance number of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda for first reading?
Finance Committee ordinance is 2682, 2868-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee ordinances 2813 and 2814-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee ordinances 2705, 2853, and 2874-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee ordinances 2461, 2712, 2777, 2806, 2839, 2840, 2858, 2904, 2931-2018. Rules and Reference Committee ordinances 2937, 2938, and 2939-2018.
The following ordinance appear on our agenda as consent action. Will the clerk now read those ordinance numbers into the record?
Resolutions of expression 330X, 332, 333, 334, 337, 338, 339, 340, and 342X-2018, 329X, 331, 335, 343, and 327X-2018. Finance Committee ordinances 2797, 2799, 2902, 2959, 2964, and 2978-2018. Recreation and Parks Committee ordinances 2815 and 2816-2018. Public Safety Committee ordinance 3052-2018. Public Service and Transportation Committee Resolution 297X-2018. Ordinances 936, 2263, 2600, 2620, 2674, 2679, 2681, 2747, 2766, 2767, 2784, 2826, 2836, 2847, 2849, and 2873-2018. Environment Committee Ordinance 2851-2018. Economic Development and Small Business Committee Resolution 325X-2018. Ordinances 2980, 3007-2018. Housing Committee Ordinances 2885, 2945, 2984, 2985, 2986, 2987, 2988, and 2989-2018. Judiciary and Court Administration Committee Ordinance 2899-2018. Neighborhoods Committee Ordinance 2946-2018. Technology Committee Ordinances 2327, 2672, 2794, 2916, and 3034-2018. Public Utilities Committee Ordinances 2668, 2732, 2733, 2740, 2757, 2768, 2773, 2804, and 3016-2018. Health and Human Services Committee Ordinances 2832, 2869-2018, and appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0276 and 277-2018.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing none and no speakers filed to speak on the consent, may I have a motion for approval of these items designated as consent? Please call the roll.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Yes. Ms. Page? Yes. Mr. Remy? Yes. Mr. Stenziano? Yes. Ms. Tyson?
Yes, with the exception of 2885-2018, on which I am abstaining.
And President Harden.
Yes, consent agenda items are passed with the noted exceptions. We will now proceed with the second reading of 30-day tabled and emergency legislation. The first committee to come before council is the Finance Committee. Councilmember Elizabeth Brown chairs that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in Finance, we have two ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 2949-2018 to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget, to authorize the city auditor to transfer various funds within the Construction Management Capital Improvement Fund and the Public Safety Voted Bonds Fund, and to declare an emergency. A mayor's emergency was declared on October 1st to replace the sanitary drainage system at Fire Station number 19. Immediate repair was necessary to keep the station operational. A major line was failing directly underneath the station. This ordinance ensures that sufficient funds are available for these emergency repairs in line with Columbus City Code requirements. This ordinance is receiving emergency consideration to keep the city's accounting system as accurate and up to date as possible. Any questions from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Next, we have ordinance 2970-2018 to authorize and direct the city auditor to provide for the transfer of $12,613,162 within the general fund, to transfer appropriations between objects in certain non-general fund departments and divisions, to authorize and direct the city auditor to appropriate additional funds in the Finance and Management's Print and Mail Services Fund, to authorize and direct the city auditor to transfer cash between the general fund and the property management fund, and to declare an emergency. As part of the third quarter financial review, the Department of Finance and Management identifies budget surpluses and deficits across the division in city operations. This ordinance aligns appropriations with projected expenditures and allows divisions to operate without interruption through the end of the year. This ordinance is receiving emergency consideration to keep the city's accounting system as accurate and up to date as possible. Any questions from colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
President Harden, that's all I have in finance. May I move to education?
Please.
Tonight in education, we have ordinance 2827-2018 to authorize Columbus City Council to enter into contract with Reading Holiday Project Incorporated to renew and expand support of the Barbershop Books program and to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund. The Barbershop Books program has a simple goal to spread a love of reading for African American boys by providing child-friendly reading spaces in neighborhood barbershops. Helping establish a love of reading has a positive impact for a child throughout life. This is the third year City Council has provided funding for Barbershop Books, and I'm excited to join President Harden for the third time to support expanding reading opportunities for children. In fact, this has been a partnership from the start. Originally, Council President Harden brought this forward with the city schools, and we have been proud to continue that partnership. And we've actually measured our outcomes. According to a survey of participating barbers, 73% of boys were never reading in their shops before the program. And after the program has been introduced, barbers report that 91% see boys reading either daily or almost daily in their shops. This funding will renew book subscriptions for all 30 shops, purchase replacement shelves, and fund a refresher early literacy training course conducted by the founder of Barbershop Books for barbers and community liaisons. Before moving for passage, I'd like to turn the floor over to President Harden, who drove the effort to bring Barbershop Books to Columbus.
Thank you, Chair Brown. Just wanted to say thank you to you for your partnership. Thank you to this council for its continual support. This is a partnership with Columbus City Schools, and so I'd like to shout out Dr. Keisha Hunley Jenkins, the Director of Student Mentoring Initiatives at CCS, for her support and for helping to grow the program, as well as for Jewish Columbus, formerly known as the Columbus Jewish Foundation, who has come in as a funding partner on this that allowed us to expand the program. It's funded by their Social Justice Committee. They awarded the Barbershop Books program nearly $10,000 to support this community-based literacy initiative, and so just very appreciative. At the end of the day, the goal of this program is to get young boys to say 3 words: "I am a reader." And because of this council, we have young men in 30 of our barbershops in the community having that opportunity. So just thank you.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
That's all I have, President Harden.
Thank you, Chair Brown. The next committee to come before council is the Public Service and Transportation Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Remy. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Council President Harden. Tonight, we have ordinance number 2342, 2018, to authorize and direct the enactment of a new $5 permissive motor vehicle tax according to the terms and conditions of Section 4504.06 of the Ohio Revised Code. This ordinance authorizes the City of Columbus to levy a $5 permissive motor vehicle license tax as set forth in Section 4504.06 of the Ohio Revised Code for motor vehicles licensed defined in Section 4503.10 of the Ohio Revised Code in the City of Columbus, Delaware County, Ohio. By enacting this permissive motor vehicle license tax, the City of Columbus seeks to equalize the permissive motor vehicle license taxes levied in Delaware County to match permissive motor vehicle license taxes levied in Fairfield and Franklin counties. Deputy Director Scacco, could you speak a little bit further to this particular ordinance?
Chairman Remy, President Harden, and members of council. As the chairman said, this is a $5 tax for Columbus residents who live in Delaware County. Currently, the Columbus residents in Delaware County pay a $15 tax, and Columbus residents in Franklin and Fairfield counties pay $20 for their motor vehicle tax. So this legislation means all Columbus residents will pay the same $20 tax regardless of what county they live in.
Thank you very much. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll. Sorry.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you very much. Next, I have ordinance number 2599, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget to authorize the city auditor to appropriate funds within the Street and Highway Improvements non-bond fund to authorize the Department of Public Service to refund monies to Ohio Health Corporation representing the unexpended balance of upfront deposits made by Ohio Health to support the construction of certain public infrastructure improvements in the vicinity of North Broadway and Olentangy River Road. To authorize the expenditure of $4,412,416.72 from the Street and Highway Improvements Non-Bond Fund for that purpose and to declare an emergency. The purpose of this legislation is to authorize the issuance of a refund for the unexpended balance of funds deposited by Ohio Health Corporation relative to the design and construction of certain public infrastructure improvements in the vicinity of North Broadway and Olentangy River Road in the amount of $4,412,416.72. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have ordinance 2616, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a public services contract with Wolpert for the Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Near South project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $620,000 from the Street and Highway Bond Fund to pay for the contract and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract with Wolpert through the city's RFP process in the amount of up to $620,000 for the Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Near South project. The intent of the RFP is to provide the City of Columbus Department of Public Service with continuing contractual access to additional resources that are necessary to perform professional engineering and survey services, as well as provide technical expertise for the department to implement sidewalk projects to provide improved pedestrian access to schools. The Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks Near South project will install sidewalks along residential streets surrounding Lincoln Park Elementary School and Livingston Elementary School. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you very much. Next, I have ordinance number 2617, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract with Corda Nemeth Engineering for the Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Hilltop project to authorize the expenditure of up to $800,000 from Street and Highways Bond Fund to pay for this contract and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract through the city's RFP process with Corda Nemeth Engineering in the amount of up to $800,000 for the Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Hilltop project. The Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Hilltop project will install sidewalk along residential streets surrounding West High School, Highland Elementary School, and West Broad Elementary School. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have ordinance number 2618, 2018, to amend the 2018 capital improvement budget to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a public services contract with Tool Design Group for the Operation Sidewalks, School Sidewalks, Eastland project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $520,000 from the Street and Highways Bond Fund to pay for the contract and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into a professional services contract through the city's RFP process with Tool Design Group in the amount of up to $520,000 for the Operation Sidewalks School Sidewalks Eastland project. The Operation Sidewalks School Sidewalks Eastland project will install sidewalk along streets surrounding Independence High School and Liberty Elementary School. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Next, I have ordinance number 2837, 2018, to authorize the City Attorney's Office, Real Estate Division, to contract for professional services relative to the acquisition of fee simple, title, and lesser interests in and to property needed for the Celebrate One Sidewalk project. To authorize the City's Attorney's Office, Real Estate Division, to negotiate with property owners to acquire the additional right-of-ways necessary to complete this project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $200,000 from the Street and Highways Bond Fund, and to declare an emergency. The following legislation authorizes the City Attorney's Office, Real Estate Division, to hire professional services and to negotiate with property owners to acquire the various property rights necessary to complete the Celebrate One Sidewalk project citywide. The Department of Public Service is engaged in the Celebrate One Sidewalk project. This project consists of constructing sidewalks along various locations identified in support of the Celebrate One program. Installation of sidewalks will include curb ramps, drive approaches, curb, retaining walls, and may include stormwater drainage improvements in select areas. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Next, I have ordinance number 2850, 2018, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into professional services contract with Strand Associates for the pedestrian safety improvements Worthington Woods Boulevard Sidewalks project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $233,880.99 from the Streets and Highways Bond Fund to pay for this contract and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the Director of Public Service to enter into professional services contracts with Strand Associates in the amount of up to $233,880.99 for the pedestrian safety improvements Worthington Woods Boulevard Sidewalks project. The intent of this project is to provide the City of Columbus Department of Public Services additional resources for the design of new sidewalks on the south side of Worthington Woods Boulevard to fill gaps between Sankis Boulevard and Worthington Galena Road. New sidewalk will also be installed on the southeast side of Worthington Woods Boulevard from Worthington Galena Road to Deer Creek Drive. Curb and gutter will also be installed as needed, and storm sewer facilities will be installed in conjunction with the curb addition. Sidewalks are intended to be installed within the existing right-of-way. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
President Harden, that's all I have in Public Service and Transportation. With your permission, I will move on directly into Environment.
Please.
Thank you very much. In Environment Committee this evening, I have ordinance number 2649, 2018, to authorize the Finance and Management Director to establish purchase orders for the purchase of 16 automated side-load refuse trucks from the Truck Country of Indiana DBA Stoops Freightliner, Quality Trailer, and with ESEC Corporation, doing business as Columbus Peterbilt, to authorize the expenditure of $5,257,871 within the Refuse General Obligation Bond Fund, to authorize the expenditure of $373,902 in the General Government Grant Fund, and to declare an emergency. This legislation authorizes the Director of Finance and Management to establish purchase orders with Truck Country of Indiana, doing business as Stoops Freightliner, Quality Trailer, and with ESEC Corporation, doing business as Columbus Peterbilt, for the Division of Refuse Collection to purchase 16 CNG-powered automated side-load refuse trucks. The Department of Public Service, Division of Refuse Collection, utilizes automated side-load refuse trucks in citywide residential trash pickup. The Department of Public Service and Fleet Management recognized the need to replace older trucks in its fleet beyond the useful service life of the vehicle. This purchase will replace 16 refuse trucks that have reached the end of their useful service life. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
President Harden, that's all I have in environment this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Remy. The next committee to come before council is the Economic Development and Small Business Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Page. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. This evening in Economic Development and Small Business, we have Ordinance 2860, 2018, to authorize the Director of Development to enter into a dual-rate jobs growth incentive with Diversity Search Group, LLC, for a term of up to 5 consecutive years in consideration of investing an estimated $370,000, retaining 4 full-time permanent positions and creating 120 new full-time permanent positions. Diversity Search Group was founded in 2005 and is one of the largest project-based human resources and recruiting firms in Ohio, headquartered here in Columbus. It is a registered minority vendor for the City of Columbus, a certified minority business enterprise, a disadvantaged business enterprise, and a women-owned small business. Diversity Search Group is proposing to relocate their operations from 2600 Corporate Exchange Drive to another site located here in the city. In total, Diversity Search Group is expected to invest approximately $370,000 to equip the project site and support expansion of its operations. Director, do you have any additional comments? Seeing none. Oh, yes, Councilmember Tyson.
Thank you, Chairwoman Page. I also just want to share that this particular business, we've had the opportunity from council to be able to fund a couple different initiatives that Ms. Sherrard has taken advantage of. So about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago when we were here and we created kind of a small business initiative from council, my role was to focus on the training. And so this particular business took advantage of what was the MBE Academy. And just this past year, she also took advantage of a program that we also funded at The Ohio State University with the Fisher College of Business to be able to grow your business, because it's been a successful business for quite some time in our community, but to take her business to get to the next level. And we funded 5 women-owned businesses to be able to do that. And so it's just great to see that we have been supporting this business, helping to grow this business for quite some time, and to be able to see that there's a potential to have now 120 more employees at her business. I would hope that the work that the programs that she's taken on behalf of the work dollars that we've provided, that has helped to grow her business. So congratulations to Ms. Sherrard for this legislation, for you working with her, Director Shoney.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Are there any other comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
2876, 2018, to authorize the Director of the Department of Development to enter into a dual-rate jobs growth incentive agreement with CKE Management, LLC, for a term of up to 5 consecutive years in consideration of the company's proposed capital investment of $2,780,000, the retention of 12 jobs, and the creation of 20 new full-time permanent positions with an estimated annual payroll of approximately $1,085,000. CKE Management, LLC is proposing to invest nearly $3 million to further establish and renovate its manufacturing and headquarters operation in Columbus. Additionally, CKE will retain 12 full-time jobs with an annual payroll of over $1 million and create 20 new full-time permanent positions. Are there any additional comments from Director Shoney?
Thank you, Councilmember Page. Just real quickly, President Harden, real quickly to Councilmember Tyson's comments before. Thank you very much. I will say that the lessons we've learned from those prior programs are some of what's going into the work that we're doing now in terms of redesigning some of our small business programming so that we can take those lessons to a broader set. And that's where I really love when council does some pilot programs and has something for us to learn from. So thank you for those initiatives. To this specific legislation, I am sorry I do not have samples tonight, but we will see what we can do in the future. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. If there are no additional questions or comments, I move for passage.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
2921-2018, to dissolve the Community Reinvestment Area Agreement with Fireproof Partners, LLC, and to direct the Director of the Department of Development to notify, as necessary, the local and state tax authorities and to declare an emergency. The Columbus Tax Incentive Review Council, also known as the TIRC, met this past August to review the performance of the Department of Development's property tax abatement portfolio in tax increment finance districts. The review found that the city again exceeded projected and committed job growth and payroll numbers for 2017. As a result of this review, the TIRC has recommended that 58 agreements continue, and of those 58, 40 with no need for staff follow-up beyond standard reporting. The TIRC also recommended that staff follow up on 17 agreements and recommended that this particular agreement be dissolved. Fireproof Partners LLC project was recommended to be resolved by the department and the TIRC. It involved new investment in real property improvements and the commitment to create 24 full-time positions by December 31st, 2016. The project received a 50% 15-year abatement for a mixed-use redevelopment of a vacant facility. Although the project is fully occupied and the company reported 140 employment records at the site, the retail nature of the tenants meant that the vast majority were part-time or under the $12 an hour minimum required by the city. That is why the TIRC, as well as the department, has recommended the dissolution of the agreement. Director, are there any additional comments?
Thank you, Chair Page, President Harden, members of council. This and the next piece of legislation, as the chair said, are both related to the Tax Incentive Review Council's work this fall or late summer. This should be the last piece of legislation that we have to take on this. There may be others that come throughout the year to the 17 pieces or 17 projects that staff has been directed to follow up on, but this and the next piece of legislation are the last that we expect to see for a little bit until we have some results of that follow-up.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
2922-2018, to authorize the Director of Development to amend the Community Reinvestment Area Agreement with EW High Street LLC and EW Hubbard High LLC for the second time to remove the ground floor retail space and associated job creation and payroll commitments and to declare an emergency. Again, as Director Shoney said, this was one of the agreements reviewed by the TIRC, and based on their report, they have recommended that this agreement be amended to remove the ground floor retail space, associated job creation and payroll commitments, and so that this exempt facility would then only be the 322 space parking garage. Also, that the improvements related to the parking structure on that parcel will remain eligible for the abatement. Director Shoney.
Thank you for your indulgence, Chair Page, President Harden, members of council. One additional comment to the comments made on the last piece of the legislation. The chair noted that the minimum wage that we had put on the jobs for those projects was $12 an hour. That was under our old policy. I think all the council members know that we're not bringing forward projects with less than a $15 an hour wage unless there are some extreme extenuating circumstances. I just did want to clarify that for council.
Thank you, Director. Are there any questions or comments on this piece? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
President Harden, if we may move to the Judiciary and Court Administration Committee.
Please.
Ordinance 2628-2018, to authorize and direct the city attorney to settle the lawsuit known as William R. Glenn versus City of Columbus et al., pending in the Franklin County, Ohio Court of Common Pleas, to authorize the appropriation and expenditure of the sum of $410,000 in settlement of this lawsuit and to declare an emergency. I would now like to ask Chief General Counsel Josh Cox to provide additional information on this settlement.
Thank you, Chair Page, President Harden, members of council. In November of 2013, Fire Engine 32 was responding to a fire alarm at an elementary school. It was proceeding west on Refugee Road at the intersection of Bryce and Refugee. It struck another vehicle that was southbound on Bryce, looking to turn left on Refugee. Sadly, that accident resulted in the death of Mrs. Glenn. This wrongful death lawsuit was filed in Franklin County Common Pleas Court. Typically, when there's an emergency run, the city is immune from liability. However, there are certain actions that can defeat that immunity, and in this case, the issue was whether the operation of the fire engine amounted to willful, wanton, or reckless conduct. The trial court denied the city's motion to be held immune. The case went up to the Franklin County Court of Appeals, and that court found that there was a genuine factual dispute as to whether the driver of Fire Engine 32 operated the vehicle in a reckless manner, found that there was not wanton or willful misconduct, and that the city was entitled to immunity, but there was a genuine issue as to firefighter Sheridan, who was operating the vehicle. Specifically, the issue was whether Engine 32's electronic siren was activated on the emergency run, and whether all vehicles were stopped as the driver decided to enter the intersection of Bryce and Refugee. Once that was sent back to the trial court for trial, there was a mediation conducted, an all-day mediation that was not initially successful in resolving the case, but ultimately the parties agreed with the recommendation of the mediator and decided to settle this case for $410,000. The Department of Public Safety participated in that mediation and is supportive of this resolution, and we would ask for council's approval.
Thank you, Attorney Cox. Are there any questions? President Harden.
Thank you, Chair Page. Just a question maybe to the department. Going forward, listened to you, City Attorney Cox, you said that one of the issues was whether or not the sound system, the alarm, was signaled for on the emergency truck, on the engine. Do we have equipment now to tell us if or when the alarm or the sirens are signaled on engines going forward?
Council President Harden, members of council, yes, we do, and as I notified council late last year, the Division of Fire received a $675,000 grant for an emergency response driver training simulator. That simulator is to be delivered the middle of this month, followed by 1 week of train the trainer training. We'll start with new recruits that will receive this training. We will move to the rest of the division with a mobile trailer that will go to all the fire stations, and it will also include remedial training for any firefighters that are involved in an accident. But there are policies and procedures in place that dictate when lights and sirens are to be activated or when they are not to be activated.
Thank you, Director, and thank you, Chair. It's a very unfortunate situation.
Thank you, President Harden. Any additional questions? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
And my final piece this evening, 3085-2018, which Judge Barrows has spoken on this on behalf of the court already, to authorize the administrative and presiding judge of the Franklin County Municipal Court to enter into a contract modification with Alvis Incorporated for the provision of work release program services, to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Public Safety Initiatives Subfund, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of City Code, and to declare an emergency. There are no questions or comments. I move for passage by voice.
Second. Please call the roll by voice.
Ms. Brown? Mr. Brown? Yes. Page? Yes. Remy? Yes. Stenziano? Yes. Tyson?
Abstain.
President Harden.
Yes, ordinance passed.
Thank you, President Harden. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Chair Page. Next committee to come before council is the Technology Committee. President Pro Tem Cinziano chairs that committee. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in the Technology Committee bring forward Ordinance 2854-2018 to appropriate $1,592,277.73 within the Special Income Tax Fund to authorize the Director of Finance and Management on behalf of the Department of Technology to establish a contract purchase order with Dell Marketing LP utilizing a state term schedule for Microsoft Enterprise Software licensing for a true-up costs associated with the current year of the 3-year agreement to authorize the expenditure of $1,592,277.73 or so much thereof as may be necessary from the Special Income Tax Fund for the Department of Technology. This ordinance will enable the city to obtain the latest versions of Microsoft software utilizing a single agreement for the entire city. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
That's all we have in technology. If I can move to public utilities.
Please.
In public utilities tonight, I bring forward Ordinance 2567-2018 to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to associate all general budget reservations resulting from this ordinance with Universal Term Contract Purchase Agreement with Wesco Distribution Incorporated for the purchase of distribution transformers for the Division of Power, to authorize the expenditure of $600,000 from the Electricity Operating Fund, to authorize a transfer and expenditure of up to $500,000 within the Electricity General Obligations Bond Fund, and to authorize an amendment to the 2018 capital improvements budget. These transformers will be used on the Division of Power's electrical distribution system to serve new customers as well as replace existing transformers that are at their end of life. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
The last ordinance I bring forward from Public Utilities is Ordinance 2742-2018 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to renew an existing engineering agreement with Smoot Construction Company for professional construction management services for the Lockbourne Intermodal Subtruck Project, to authorize a transfer within and an expenditure of up to $4,129,954.75 from the Sanitary Sewer General Obligation Bond Fund to amend the 2018 capital improvements budget and to declare an emergency. This is the second planned modification renewal of this agreement. This project will create environmental benefits by reducing the number of site septic treatment systems which allow for high-quality treatment of the sewage. It will also decrease the long-term maintenance and power usage that is associated with the pump stations that will be taken offline once completed. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Pass. Or please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
That was very good foresight, Council President. That's all I have in committee this evening.
Thank you, President, our Chair Cinziano. Final committee to come before council is the Health and Human Services Committee. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Tyson. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I have ordinance number 2893-2018 to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the Ohio Department of Transportation for the Safe Routes to School program in the amount of $39,000, to authorize the appropriation of $39,000 in the Health Department's grants fund and to declare an emergency. As it relates to this legislation, the Safe Routes to School program will provide safety education for elementary and middle school students. This program encourages and enables children to walk or bike to school, positively impacting their health, reducing traffic congestion, and enhancing a sense of community and improving safety. The Safe Routes to School program information is to diverse audiences across neighborhoods, training community members on implementation of the Walking School Bus Safe Passages program, and providing assistance on arrival and dismissal procedures and best practices for approximately 38,000 students across 94 elementary and middle schools in the Columbus City School District. And we heard legislation passed earlier from Councilmember Remy's office, Councilmember Remy, in regarding to all the sidewalks that will be built. So to be able to have a program for the state safe routes to school, we need to make sure that we have those sidewalks so that they can walk safely. So thank you. And if there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is Ordinance 2932-2018. It's to authorize the Columbus City Council to enter into a grant agreement with the Greater Hilltop Shalom Zone in support of the Greater Columbus Network of Villages, and to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Neighborhood Initiative Subfund and to declare an emergency. I'm going to ask my council colleague, Stenziano, to now speak on this ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And with your indulgence, at this time I'd like to invite Pastor Nancy Day Aschauer of the United West Side Coalition, Meredith McDougall with the Executive Director of the Greater Hilltop Shalom Zone, and Katie White, Director of Age-Friendly Columbus and Franklin County, to the podium. As you know, a couple weeks ago, we did pass legislation supporting our current 3 villages that exist in the city of Columbus. For those, as a reminder, Village Connections began taking members in 2014, Village in the Ville in 2015, and At Home by High in 2018. And we've really seen the impact that these programs have had in utilizing a member-driven, strength-based model focused on developing a mutually supportive network for successful and healthy aging in community programs. And so tonight, we're really excited to add a 4th and continue our support with a Hilltop-focused village. As you'll see in the ordinance, the Greater Hilltop Shalom Zone will be kind of the point of contact where we're working through, but you've seen great partners here that have brought us to this point. We know that many of the things the villages do will feel like small tasks, but they'll have a huge, big impact on our older adults' quality of life. Village members will have peace of mind when receiving services through neighborhood volunteers, and the village programs will provide older adults with substantial savings compared to market rate services for the same things they'll be doing. So couldn't be more excited to have you here and to let you speak to the ordinance. So with that, Pastor Nancy, I'll let you go.
On behalf of the United West Side Coalition, I want to express our gratitude to President Pro Tem Stenziano, President Hardin, and all members of council, and the Age-Friendly Columbus and Franklin County and the Shalom Zone for supporting the Hilltop Senior Services Initiative that we started over a year ago. You know, last year during a solar eclipse, UWC gave Mr. Stenziano a driving tour highlighting the challenges that Hilltop seniors face, and we discussed the need for transportation and support services for our older adult residents. We appreciate that Michael has been an early adopter of our initiative. It's not easy being an older adult in a struggling community that lacks the services enjoyed by residents in other communities. Hilltop seniors could use some hope for a brighter future, and I believe this funding ordinance is a critical first step to providing the help that is needed. I think about Susan, a woman I met on the Hilltop. She could use some help. She's an older adult who grew up on the Hilltop, and she tells stories of when the community was vibrant and thriving. She married a local boy, and they bought a home here and raised a family in a neighborhood of friends. Life was good on the Hilltop back then, a place where working class folks living the American dream could have a place of community. But now Susan is a widow, and she can no longer drive, and she feels isolated because she is afraid to leave her house, which is falling into disrepair because she can't keep up with the maintenance. And many of the homes on her block that once belonged to friends are now vacant and boarded up. Her back alley is strewn with garbage. And from her living room window, she can see drug deals going down across the street. She suspects that prostitutes are working out of the abandoned house near a corner. She regularly hears gunfire. Susan should be enjoying life, but instead she is desperate for hope. Other neighborhoods have great programs for their seniors, enabling them to enjoy their retirement. But in a community with crime, blight, and insufficient transportation that lacks supermarkets and doctors and amenities, life is hard. The Hilltop needs lots of partners working together to give our older adults the quality of life they deserve. And the United West Side Coalition is excited to have this great group of partners coming together to make this happen for our community. This funding ordinance will not only give us the seed money needed to begin, it will encourage others to invest in making a difference on the Hilltop. We appreciate the Greater Hilltop Area Shalom Zone's willingness to provide a home, for this new program. And we gladly pass this initiative on to them in full confidence that they will work hard to actualize the preferred future expressed by our older adult residents. Thank you again to Council and Age Friendly and to the Greater Hilltop Area Shalom Zone for your willingness to invest in this community. The United West Side Coalition is grateful for the commitment of so many partners, and we're looking forward to a brighter day for older adults in our community. Mary?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to President Hardin and to Chair Tyson and to Councilman and President Pro Tem Michael Stinziano. The ordinance before City Council this evening will jumpstart the formation of a senior village for the Hilltop. A village is a membership-driven, grassroots organization of volunteers and paid staff. The common thread of the village movement is the goal to enable senior citizens to remain living comfortably and safely in their homes for as long as possible. Typical village services include transportation, social events, home remodeling referrals, and many more. The Greater Hilltop Area Shalom Zone is proud to house this effort, which fits into our mission of seeking to improve the lives of Hilltop residents. The next steps for this work include holding focus groups with older adults to formulate what a Hilltop-specific village should offer, creating an elder council to advise the work as it begins and provide ongoing feedback, as well as seeking input to select circulator bus stops, just to name a few. The next several months will require robust public input, collaboration between many organizations, and a dedication to serving and empowering older adults on the Hilltop. This work will not be easy, but it is important. This ordinance before City Council this evening is a small piece of the larger movement to improve the Hilltop, so I encourage all interested organizations, churches, and residents to join with us as we seek to assist and enable seniors to live life to its fullest. Thank you.
Good evening, Council President, Council members. I'll also say good evening to our department directors and deputy directors, who we also have the opportunity to work so closely with. On behalf of the Ohio State University College of Social Work and Assistant Director of Age Friendly, Marisa Sheldon, thank you so much for the opportunity this evening to come and celebrate the great work of not only the United West Side Coalition and Greater Hilltop Shalom Zone, but the elders in the community. You've given us the opportunity to take the time to challenge and reframe how we think about and how we talk about aging, and how we are truly embracing the doubling of the 65-plus population as something to be revered and celebrated. And because of the opportunity that you've given us, we've been able to give an opportunity to others. So whether we are hosting conversations in our space at Blackburn Community Center, up to about 1,300 individuals have passed through the door this year to meet with us, or showcasing what we're doing in local, statewide, and national audiences around the age-friendly city movements. Or what we really do best is holding focus groups, again, raising up, listening to the elders in our community, and empowering their voices, their ideas, and bringing them to fruition. So I just want to again say thank you. Tonight, it's really about what's going on in the Hilltop and the incredible collaborations going on there. And thank you one last time for the opportunity to do this work. It's a privilege and an honor, and we don't take it lightly.
So thank you all again. I know there was a lot of meetings, a lot of discussion with your boards and with your ongoing support. With that, I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Stinziano. If there are no questions or comments, first, but thank you for your leadership in terms of all the work on age-friendly Columbus. Thank you, Katie, but I just want to say, again, just thank you. As the population is aging, that there will certainly be services to be able to meet the needs of the special population. So with that, if there are no questions or comments, I move for passage.
Second. Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stinziano, Tyson, President Hardin.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance and the final ordinance in Health and Human Services this evening is ordinance number 2962-2018. Is to appropriate $75,000 within the Public Safety Initiatives Fund for Columbus Public Health to hire a social worker and to expand the CARE Coalition membership and staff capacity and to declare an emergency. I'm going to ask Rebecca Nelson to walk to the podium. I don't know if you want to bring anybody else up with you, but please come to the podium. And the purpose of this ordinance is to appropriate $75,000 in the Public Safety Initiatives Fund for Columbus Public Health to expand the CARE Coalition, which is Community Action, Resilience, and Empowerment for membership and staff capacity by hiring a social worker. Marion Stuckey is the individual who leads this initiative, and she cannot be with us this evening. And so Rebecca Nelson will speak to this ordinance and share the work that's going on through this initiative. Rebecca, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair Tyson. Thank you, Council President Harden, and all the members of City Council for your ongoing vital support of this initiative that addresses trauma and resilience every day in our neighborhoods. I thought I would start by just introducing two of the young women who are next to me. Michelle Jameson is our brand new outreach worker in the Linden area, and Yolanda Frierson has been with us for most of the year as our outreach worker in the Hilltop area, so they're joining me up here today. But I thought I'd start by giving you some numbers. So since we first received funding from this body, the CARE has held 10 listening sessions within the community to better understand trauma in Linden and Hilltop, our first two primary neighborhood areas. Participants have included youth, pregnant women, and seniors. Now, CARE has a network of over 200 local organizations that can be called on to be part of this initiative. We've reached 3,100 doors in non-crisis related outreach and 532 doors in post-crisis outreach. CARE has responded to 30 traumatic community situations, which includes reaching 480 residents who have experienced community trauma. And CARE has also reached 405 residents through mental wellness events in Linden and Hilltop. On the training end, CARE has trained 919 people on principles of trauma responsiveness, including community organizations, faith-based organizations, and schools. The social worker that you are funding will be vital to these efforts. This additional staff resource will enable the CARE team to keep up with and increase our efforts in crisis response, training, and community outreach. And one of our outreach staff wrote up a story that I want to share with all of you today, because it leads directly to the vital role that social workers play with our social determinants of health needs. So the trauma might be the start, but we need wraparound services for all the things that affect our families and residents from a social determinants of health perspective. So this story reads, during outreach in the Linden community on July 11th, we met a 76-year young woman. Her name is Joanne. Joanne shared that she has lived in her home for 30 years. She shared that she does her own lawn work because her husband isn't able to do the things he could before. Joanne shared that she met a woman walking down the street a few days prior. She shared that she has concern because the woman is 82 years young, and her name is Ruby Ann. Joanne asked if we could go by to check on her. She said, I'm not sure she's aware that this neighborhood isn't safe like it used to be. I assured her I would do so. She walked down from her porch to the sidewalk to show me the house Ruby Ann lives in. Joanne went on to tell stories of living in her neighborhood and how things have changed. She said, I haven't witnessed anything and I feel safe, but I know that my neighborhood isn't safe. I asked her to explain. She said, I don't go out much and I know most of my neighbors, but things have changed and it is not safe around here anymore with the drugs and shootings that happen. Unfortunately, on September 23rd, we returned to the same street where Joanne lives because of a homicide that occurred on the other end of her street. Joanne was happy to see the CARE team again and said that she didn't hear anything and didn't know the person that had been killed. She said she was happy to see that CARE is out talking with her neighbors and that she and her husband really appreciate the support that CARE offers. She said that she shared the CARE information with the women's group in her church, And additionally, she stated that she has the care magnet with our phone number on her refrigerator and would most definitely use it if she needs help. So time and time again, our teams that go out in the neighborhoods report, sometimes the doors don't open, sometimes people aren't home, but everybody that they've talked to is so thankful for this warm reach out, right? And the last story that I'll just share just took place on November 2nd, and it's outside of the 3 target zones. It's in the Near East Side. But on this past Friday, the care team was asked to support the community around Trevitt Elementary, following a series of community traumatic incidents, including a home explosion and a murder-suicide following a SWAT standoff. The principal at Trevitt explained the community felt the extreme heaviness of all these situations, and they were wondering who cares what they're experiencing. CARE reached 103 homes on Friday, connecting with 40 residents, all of whom appreciated our support and were thankful that CARE checked in on them. So I just share those 2 stories as examples of how we already see the CARE team reaching communities, and the importance of being a social worker is those wraparound services, because the original traumatic event is just the start of it, right? So thank you so much for continuing support, for adding a social work to the team. And I know that Michelle and Yolanda join me in thanking you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And first of all, thank you, Michelle and Yolanda, for the work that you do each and every day, for knocking on those doors and connecting with our community and providing the city with the information that we need to know about our residents that we don't get to touch every single day. So thank you for being on the ground and helping us to make our community a better place for all. So I appreciate your work. This particular position, the expanded social work position, will provide a warm handoff and social consults to referrals from the APPS program, but also other programs, because council is looking at some other programs, and that we want to make sure that we do these handoffs. So as we recognize that individuals are having, need other supportive services, we're able to have a great handoff for them to someone else. So this will assist in providing, again, those residents with wraparound services to address other needs related to possibly housing, food insecurity, and other social needs. The expanded staff capacity will assist in developing expedient referral process of the social service agencies, as well as increase awareness of trauma and resilience and factors that contribute to both. Based on the current crisis intervention and training and outreach work, the social worker is projected to serve 2,900 residents throughout 2019. And this includes a care social worker, what they will do on their own, as well as providing support in partnership with stakeholders and staff. I also want to highlight the passage of this legislation as part of Council's Comprehensive Safety Initiative Strategy. In the 2018 budget, Council designated $500,000 to address community safety. Further, Council unveiled a plan this past June identifying key components to a successful community-based approach to violence intervention and prevention. Council has since funded 2 additional violence intervention staff members for the APPS program. We also helped to support funding for Cap City Nights, which occurred on the west side in Wedgwood. That event provided outreach services in that particular community. Finally, as it concerns public safety, passage of this legislation is important. We understand that a person or family experiencing trauma may also have other needs that can be served by the social services providers, such as food, housing, and employment. In order to truly help families, we have to take a holistic approach. And so I also want to commend you on the work that you're already doing. I also want to thank all of our council members for being supportive of this legislation, and all of them funding this legislation as a council. I know that Council Member Brown's office and Kelsey has worked hard on working on this legislation, but all input, there's been input by every member of this council for this work. We understand there's a need. We also want to make sure that we're doing everything possible when our families are going through traumatic events to provide the resources that they need. So thank you, Rebecca. Please tell Marianne we appreciate her work and all the other partners that are working with you to make our community a safer, healthier place for all. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, seeing none, I move for passage.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all I have on my committee this evening.
Seeing no further business to come before council, may I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
The council meeting is adjourned. We will take, we'll it's so close. We'll take a 5-minute break. We will have non-agenda speakers after zoning. I apologize, directors. Regular meeting number 58 will now come to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
We will now go to the zoning committee. Councilmember Tyson chairs that committee. All members serve on that committee. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Before beginning the zoning agenda, I'll briefly explain the rules of council as pertaining to speaking before council on zonings and variances. We permit 3 speakers on each side, 3 proponents, 3 opponents, and we ask that they limit their remarks to 3 minutes on each side, and we provide an opportunity for rebuttal from the applicant. On the advice of the city attorney's office, we ask that anyone here this evening who wishes to speak either for or against a council variance, including staff, please stand, raise your right hand, and be sworn in. I wish to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. Please answer, I will. Thank you. The first ordinance is 2528-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3332.035 R3 Residential District, 3312.121 landscaping and screening, 3312.273 parking setback line, 3313.39 stripping and marking, 3312.43 surface, 3312.49 minimum number of parking spaces required, and 3332.07B landscaping of the Columbus City Codes for property located at 280 Ennis Avenue, to permit a fraternal organization, private club with reduced parking and landscaping standards in the R3 residential district. The applicant is Tara Hall, care of Ron Hagan. The proposed use is to conform and expand a fraternal organization / private club. The city department's recommendation is approval, and the Columbus South Side Area Commission recommendation is approval. I first move to waive second reading.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waive.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. Thank you. The next ordinance is 2770-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3357.01 C4 Commercial District of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 865 North Wilson Road to permit an automotive sales in the C5 Commercial District. The applicant is G&SG Investments LLC, care of attorney William L. Loveland. The proposed use is automotive sales. The city department's recommendation is approval. The Greater Columbus Area Commission's recommendation is approval. 13-0 and 2 abstentions. First, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waived.
Thank you. And now I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 2772-2018 to rezone 5020 Gender Road, 3.37 acres located at the southeast section of Gender Road and Chelsea Glen Drive from CPD Commercial Plan Development and PUD8 Planned Unit Development Districts to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is GBS Gender LLC, care of attorney Sean Mennel. The proposed use is a mixed-use development. The city department's recommendation is approval. The Greater Southeast Area Commission's recommendation is approval, 8-0. There are no questions or comments? Then I move to amend to emergency.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amend it.
Thank you. Now move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 2928-2018 to grant a variance from the provision of sections 3356.03 C4 permitted uses of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1581 Parsons Avenue to conform a existing single-unit dwelling in the C4 Commercial District. The applicant is Dashnor Kaheljo. The proposed use is to conform a single-unit dwelling. The City Department's recommendation is approval, and the Columbus South Side Area Commission's recommendations approval 12-0. If there are no questions or comments from my colleagues, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waive.
Thank you. And lastly, I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 2934-2018 to rezone 3700 Parsons Avenue, being .43 acres located at the southeast corner of Parsons Avenue and Barcher Road, from C2 Commercial District to C1 Commercial District. The applicant is 3700 Parsons LLC, care of attorney Laura McGregor Cormick. The proposed use is a neighborhood scale commercial uses. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Far South Columbus Area Commission's recommendation is approval 10-0. If there are no questions or comments, I move to waive second reading.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Waive.
Thank you. Now I move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 2934-2018. It's to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3356.03 C4 permitted uses, 3312.27 parking setback line, 3372.804 setback requirements, 3377.05 tables of elements for on-premises ground signs of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 3469 South High Street to permit a self-storage facility with reduced development standards in the C4 Commercial District, and to repeal Ordinance 0439-2014 passed July the 28th of 2014. The applicant is WTOL LLC, care of Dave Perry. The proposed use is a self-storage facility. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Far South Columbus Area Commission's recommendation is approval 7-0. If there are no questions or comments, I move to amend to emergency.
Please call the row to amend ordinance 2935.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amend it.
Thank you. And now move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. The next ordinance is 2940-2018 to rezone 6335 Refugee Road, being .87 acres located on the west side of Gender Road, 330 feet south of Refugee Road, from C4 Commercial District to CPD Commercial Plan Development District. The applicant is Ron Sabatino. The attorney is Michael Shannon. The proposed use is a car wash. The City Department's recommendation is approval. The Greater Southeast Area Commission's recommendation is approval. 6-0, 3 abstentions. If there are no questions or comments, I move to amend to emergency.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amend it.
Thank you. And now move for passage.
Please call the row.
Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. And the final ordinance and zoning this evening is 2942-2018 to grant a variance from the provisions of sections 3332.035 R3 Residential District and 3332.05 A4 area district lot with requirements of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 1515 Oak Street to permit a two-unit dwellings on 2 contiguous parcels with reduced lot width in the R4 residential district. The applicant is Epic Development Group LLC, care of Dave Perry. The proposed use is a 2-unit dwelling development. The city department's recommendations approval, and the Near East Side recommendations approval 12-0. If there are no questions or comments, I move to amend to emergency.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Amended.
And finally, I move for passage.
Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
Pass.
And that's all we have in zoning this evening.
Thank you, Chair Tyson. Seeing no further business come for the zoning committee, may I get a motion to adjourn? Please call the roll.
Brown, Brown, Page, Remy, Stenziano, Tyson, President Harden.
And then zoning is adjourned. We will take non-agenda speakers momentarily.